Welcome to Molé Mama. Today is a very special day. I'm on location in Maui, Hawaii, with Sasanna, our sassy chef. So excited, and I can't wait to taste your food.
Yeah, for sure.
And so do you want to tell everybody a little bit about your background and how you learned to cook?
Well, I've been cooking since I was 7 years old. My family's 100% Russian in background. I remember being up on the stove as a little kid, just stirring a big pot of something I was making. So it's been in my family for a long time. Russian families are all about tradition and about, cooking everything from scratch and everyone eating together at the dinner table. First, we're going to start off with Russian golubtzi, which is a traditional comfort food in a lot of Russian cultures and Eastern European cultures. That's something that is very special to me since I was a kid.
Awesome. I'm going to let you work your magic, and I might jump back in and try to help you. Yep.
Okay, so first thing we're going to start off with was a nice big leafy head of cabbage. Because we're in Maui, I decided to use local cabbage, as many local ingredients as possible. I'm not in Russia, and it doesn't matter. Wherever I am, I use what's local at the farmers markets, because that's important to support the local farmers. And it's the freshest quality product. You can use a white rice. You can be a medium to long grain rice. I'm only using about half a cup, because I feel like, I always end up making too much rice. I have some shredded local kula carrots that are grown right up here up country, and some diced red bell peppers, also local. Maui's known for the local sweet onions. These are the chopped local Maui sweet onions, and some garlic, about 1 large clove, and this is about half a large onion. I have just a little bit of flour here, Hawaiian sea salt. I have some bay leaves here and some allspice, just a little bit. It's probably about half a teaspoon each, and some fresh local curly parsley. You can use Italian if you want, but I like this one a little better. I have about 2 cups of beef stock here. I may not need it all, I don't know, we'll see. I have some San Marzano tomato sauce here. It's canned chopped tomatoes. I like San Marzano because it's a really nice sweet quality and it's really good quality. And some coarse ground fresh black pepper. Now, this is a controversial thing when it comes to this dish. It's Hungarian, it's Eastern European, it's Russian, and everyone talks about the better way to make it or their way to make it. I'm just going to make it the way my grandmother taught me and my mom taught me. And they don't really measure things out, they kind of just use their hands. My grandma would actually take an eggshell as she was baking and use the eggshell as a measuring cup. Or just go, just a pinch of salt, and just grab it from our hands. So I'll try to be a little more precise just so you can follow my recipe. So one thing about the cabbage is some people like to actually freeze it. They'll put it in the freezer for 3 days and then they'll peel the leaves off. And that's a little weird, it makes it kind of a funky texture. I don't like how it just freezes it. And some people nowadays, most modern Russians, will put it in the microwave. I try to not ever use a microwave if possible. So the best way I learned to do it was boiling it in a big, large pot of salted boiling water. So you want to salt it so that it tastes like seawater. You dip your finger in there, it tastes like the ocean. Salt it nice and good here with some local Hawaiian sea salt, because why not? We're in Hawaii. Alright, get that to a boil. So now there's a couple ways we can do this. We can either take a small knife, carefully cut the leaf and try to pull it off, and add each leaf in there and kind of blanch it in there. Just cook it real fast, but I find the best way to do is to kind of get the core out. Now, this is the way my grandma did it, so I'm doing it this way because, there's a reason she did it this way.
How old were you the first time you made this with your grandma?
I think I was maybe 8 years old. I remember going to her house when I was younger than that and just staring at her, watching her cook everything. So she would just cook everything from scratch, every single thing. And she would always cook the traditional Russian food that was completely just comfort food to me that you just can't really find anywhere. So the only way to make it really is from scratch. So the hardest part is getting this core out, though, which can be tricky. So that's going to get this out without making it too much of a hassle.
So that's exactly the same way we get the core out. My mom taught me.
Yeah.
So
same. That's
same
how my grandma would do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's an easier way to do it, but you have to follow what grandma says, I think, to a certain extent. So comfort food, we sit at a big wood table and all eat together. And a lot of people don't do that as much anymore. I feel like they need to get back to the dining room table and just share a meal together. And I think taking time to cook a homemade meal is important because that's part of it. It's part of the enjoyment of it. If you just microwave a meal, sit down, it's not the same. We all cook together and learn from each other. That's what makes it special. And those are the memories. So this dish is actually, my family's from southern Russia and Georgia. My dad's side is more from St. Petersburg area. So we got the core out like that. So we're taking it and kind of just loosen it up gently. As it boils, all the leaves are going to loosen up a lot, and then we can kind of pull at them with some tongs, and it'll kind of come loose. I want to wait till this is nice and good and boiling. So I'm going to wait just a minute. So this dish originally, because everything is about fusion. I mean, you think, oh, it's just Russian, but Russians didn't really eat rice. They used millet, or they used barley, or different kinds of grains. The rice came in later when the Asian immigrants were kind of moving through and they were trading more. And this dish actually started off as a French dish. The French influence in St. Petersburg and the more wealthy areas of Russia came through making these fancy little pigeons wrapped in cabbage or other kinds of leaves. And people of lower class, middle class wanted to copy that, and they couldn't get pigeons. So what they do is they take their cabbage and use whatever kind of meat they had and just wrap it in with whatever kind of grains or whatever, any bits of anything they had. It's almost like a leftover kind of thing. So golup actually means pigeon. So that's where this dish came from. So it's a traditional Russian dish, but really it started off as a French dish, which I kind of find fascinating.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, everything's about a melting pot when it comes down to it. You think that it isn't, but it really is. All right, I'm not quite there yet, so I might want to wait a second and get that boiling. Let's see. In the meantime, yeah. Oh, you know what? What we can do in the meantime? So we're gonna take. I have about half a cup of rice here. I guess I just a white rice. I'm just gonna dump it right in. My grandma wouldn't even measure this; she would just dump it in. So I'm gonna put about a cup of water in there. We're gonna cook this, and we're gonna cook it till it's still a little crunchy because it's gonna still cook in the oven.
Okay.
So it's okay to have it a little bit still al dente, if you will. I'm gonna use a cup of water. And just get that to a boil and then kind of set it aside, and it will be ready by the time we need it. For the golubtsi, I'm going to be featuring Maui Cattle Company beef. It's a local made beef that is grass-fed, hormone-free, all that good stuff, free range. It's beautiful, delicious. It's really affordable, I think, for the quality that you get. You can see the difference when you look at the color of it too. It's nice and red. Beautiful meat. So we're going to use that in our golubtsi because we are in Maui. Let's see, our water filter is just about ready. We're going to put this in a big pan here because we're going to be mixing this with the rice and all the ingredients. So throw that in the pan there, in a big mixing bowl. I wash my hands. Always wash your hands. And finally, raw meat, of course. So let's see. This story, my mom told me about this dish and about cabbage, I guess, because cabbage is very near and dear to a Russian's heart. Is that my grandma, when she was young, her parents told her a story about how when they were in their village, during the winter months, it was so harsh that they would take all their cabbage and all their crops and just pack it with hay, just cover it with hay, protect it. And then they would tie a rope from the fence of the garden all the way to their house. So when it was in the middle of a blizzard and they couldn't get to their food, they would grab this rope and just lead them to their food, dig it out of the hay, and then follow it back to the house. So I can't imagine living in those conditions. I'm glad I don't, but it's kind of a neat story, I think, and it makes you appreciate your cabbage a lot more. I didn't have to do that for this cabbage. I went to the farmer's market. Not so bad. All right, so this water's just about ready. I'm going to bring the camera over here. We'll show you what's going on. All right, so this rice is still a little bit hard, so that's just how we want it. We're going to let it kind of cool. We're going to mix it with the raw meat. This water's boiling. We're going to take our whole head of cabbage with the core out and just gently kind of heave it in there. And about 10 minutes from now, we're going to check it, and all the outer leaves are going to start loosening up. And as they loosen, we're going to grab our tongs and kind of gently pull them apart. And as they're ready, we'll pull them out. I have a nice clean towel here. You want one that's not going to be very linty, like a kitchen towel, so it's not going to stick and get lint all over the food. You can use paper towels if you want, but this is the way I'm going to do it. So we cover this up, wait about 10 minutes, and once the leaves loosen up, we'll start pulling them off. Okay, or putting them aside. In the meantime, we have our beef mixture here. We're going to take this, we're going to add, this is going to be, let's see, it's probably about maybe over a cup of shredded carrots. I'm going to take most of this and put it in here. Dump it right in. I'm going to reserve a little bit because I like to add this to the sauce and kind of add a little extra flavor to the sauce later. We're going to take, like your grandma says, you know, a couple of pinches of fresh parsley. I take the bay leaf and the allspice. That's probably about, I don't know, half a teaspoon each. Dump that right in there. My grandma does. Take some salt. About that much looks good. Maybe a little more. Why not? Alright. And I'll write down the actual precise recipe for you later if you really want to follow that. But we're just going to do it grandma style right now. Nice good amount of pepper in there. And it's very simple. I mean, there's not much spice in it. It's just salt and pepper, really, and a little bit of that allspice. So yeah. We're actually going to saute the garlic onions first before we add them in. Then we're going to add most of our red bell peppers. Same thing, reserving just a little bit for the sauce for later. So that's going to be about less than half a cup, maybe a quarter cup of each. Say about a quarter cup of the carrots, a quarter cup of these, and then we'll save the rest. Alright, now we'll take the rice. And I'm not going to use it all because I feel like I always end up using more rice than I need to. I can always add more. So I'm going to add a little bit of rice to that. I used about, not that much for now. The rice is still kind of hot, so normally I'd use my hands, but I'm just going to use this spoon here to mix it in. You can add egg if you want to bind it, or maybe a little bit of flour, but I find you don't really need that. And the great thing about this dish too is you can substitute ground turkey if you want. You could add ground beef and ground pork together, or ground lamb. So it's kind of up to you what kind of ground meat you want to use. So you kind of want, let's see, I'm going to add a tiny bit more rice, and then you'll kind of see the texture that you want here for that. Alright, now my hands are going to get in there. Now it's going to get make sure your hands are clean and just keep working it together. So you want it to be, kind of look at it, take it in your hands, kind of roll it up. More meat than rice. And you want it to be like it's sticking together like a meatball almost. So kind of like that. So that looks perfect. It's all nice and mixed up. So the other thing my grandma used to do to see if there's enough salt in it was put it, or mouth on it or tongue on it. I'm not going to do that. I was very brave of her. I don't know. I seem to remember her doing that. Even my mom will say that was untrue. I think I remember her doing that when I was a kid. Like, is it salted enough? Let's see. She wouldn't eat it, she just tasted it. I think that happened. I think it did. Alright, now we're going to check on our cabbage. See if those leaves are loosening up. See if the outer leaves are already coming off. And some of these might not be usable because they may have lost too much of their leaf. That one looks perfect actually. So we're going to kind of tug on it gently. You should be careful because you don't want to break the leaf. So you want to grab it from this part of the stem that's hardest so it won't mess up the leaf. Just lay them out there to cool off. And if they're messed up ones, you can still use them later in a stew or a curry or something, so don't throw them away. Another thing my family was all about was never wasting. We just use every bit of everything we can. And that's why this dish is great for leftover meat or leftover veggies. You can kind of put anything in it and it'll taste really well. It'll taste really good. So those are all coming off pretty easily. See, it's not that scary.
They look fantastic, and you're making it look so easy.
Yeah, it's not that bad, really. Just be careful in the hot water. And if you really want to microwave it, honestly, you can. I think it's like 20 minutes in the microwave, a whole head of cabbage, and it's done. So, yeah. That's like the modern Russians' way of doing it. So those all come off pretty easily. We're just going to keep going, and in the center core is usually the leaves are too small and the flavor's not as good. And once again, you can save the core for something else, a different dish. It just doesn't work for what we are using it for. Just keep cooling until all the leaves are out. You can kind of see how it forms almost like a lettuce wrap cup. That's kind of what we want. That's going to be kind of where we are. Like a cabbage lettuce wrap. I hope Grandma will be proud. And Grandma's babunya in Russian, so.
That's
babunya
beautiful.
Manya, Mary Manya is very happy
That's
with me right
beautiful.
now. She's passed away, but I think that her influence on my life is always going to be there and never go away. She was definitely an inspiration to me as a chef, and you know, I have so many skills because of her. So thank you, Grandma. I think it's interesting how in the chef world right now, I mean, it always has been kind of a male-dominated thing, which is hilarious to me because all men who are chefs learn to cook pretty much from their grandmothers and their mothers. So I don't understand why a woman's place is in the kitchen, but a man's place is in a restaurant kitchen. Just throwing that out there. I just thought it was a funny thing.
So maybe you need to change that.
Slightly, you know. And maybe, you know, you could be a female chef and not be like, ooh, that's a sexy female chef. You could just be a female chef because you're good.
Yes.
I noticed the few female chefs that are out there, they're like, oh, she's the sexiest female chef ever. And I'm like, that shouldn't even be a factor. Come on now. Besides, I think all chefs are sexy anyway.
I agree.
Personally.
So I have to say something really quick.
Yeah.
I'm amazed because this recipe to me is so much like albondigas.
Yeah, right?
Yes. So
See, there's always that similar.
So the ingredients that you used for your meat stuffing right now is so similar to how my mom taught me to make albondigas. And my mom did taste it for salt. I saw her do it. Yeah, funny. So I saw my mom do that. Yeah, she would just like put it on a spoon and just kind of put her lips up to it or tongue and taste it.
Okay, so this core part here is not good for making roll-ups. Right? You don't really need it, so we're going to leave that. Like I said, save it, use it for something later. Not a big deal. But I don't want to use that for the cabbage rolls. So you want all the good leaves, which are these here. So these are all the good leaves because they're still intact. They're nice and big. You can fold them. I'm just gonna lay them out here, let them chill and cool off for a bit. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna saute. Let's see. Get rid of this here and saute onions and the garlic and a little bit of butter. You can substitute olive oil if you want. Not a problem. All right. Let's see here. I'm just going to saute them until translucent, kind of a nice scent is filling the air. Okay, let's see. It's always challenging to work efficient with binoculars. Where is everything?
You're doing very well.
Yeah,
You're adapting. It's good.
it's all part of it, right?
Yes, it is.
Alright.
So when you've helped your grandmother make these, what's the most you think you've ever made in one day of these?
I have a really hard time cooking for less than 10 people.
Okay.
To this day, I have to hold back so hard. Like, no, we make less is more, because I do not know how to cook for 2 people. I do not know how to cook for 4. I only know how to cook for 10. I have a very big family, a million cousins and aunts and uncles. And when you cook something like this, especially this kind of dish that takes time, you kind of want to make a giant batch of it for everyone. You give it to your family, give it to everyone, and everyone sits down and eats together. And it actually freezes really well and makes really good leftovers too. Okay. But usually the leftovers don't last.
Okay.
They don't last long enough to freeze them, but yeah, you can if you want. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those family special dishes. It's a comfort food and it's simple, but it's something you don't make every day. So when you do make it, you're just like, oh, you're excited to have it. And there's a lot of those dishes that I was raised with. And they're so simple, and yet they're deceptively simple because they're made so fresh. Like lobshaw is one of those where it's a chicken noodle soup. And it's just a basic egg noodle and a fresh chicken broth. But the egg noodles have to be homemade, and it's just, I don't know, it's just funny how the simplest things can be a comfort to you. So we're going to go into saute onions and garlic. Should wait till the panel's a little hotter. Oh well. Let that get going. I'm going to need this later, so I'm going to wash that out. Alright, so I just sauteed these to a little bit translucent with some butter. I did about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm just going to salt this a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to put about half of this right into the burger mixture here. I'm going to reserve the other half for the sauce. So I'm going to keep this going here on the pan with the butter. And this, so it's going to be hot, but I'm okay, I can deal with it. A little hot, you can use a spoon or cool it down first. Mix it back in. So we're almost ready to stuff, which is the really fun part. Alright, so now that that's all mixed and incorporated, put that off to the side. I'm going to get my sauce going first, that way it's kind of ready to go. I'm going to have Diana come in here and help me roll some fantastic golubtsi sauce here. I'm taking the remaining onions and garlic here, putting them in a saucepan, something like a whisk in. I don't like the stainless, non-stick, because you're going to scratch it with something, so like this, so I can just really get in there and mix it up real good. I'm going to take the remaining carrots and red bell pepper, saute that slightly. So this sauce is going to cover the golubtsi and then also be used as a garnish at the end. I'm just going to saute that a little bit and add a little more pepper, 2 pinches of pepper, pinches of salt. And we're going to add this at the end as a garnish. This is our lovely tomato sauce. You can use tomato paste if you want. You can use fresh tomatoes, whatever you want to use. So remember, the tomato paste is much stronger flavor, and you're going to want to help balance that out. You can always taste it as you go. I like this one because it has nice big chunks of tomatoes. These are the San Marzano premium, really good tomatoes. And have that sweetness that I just love. I'm going to be nice and generous with this. The tomatoes just make it nice sauce. You can always add more. Okay. We're just going to simmer this down. Get to a kind of small boil. And then we're going to kind of put it on low and slow and just let it really simmer. And just you want all the vegetables to kind of just break down into the sauce. Really make it nice and rich. And
it smells good.
After that simmers a little bit, I'm going to add a bunch of this nice beef broth. I always try to use fresh if I can, but if not, whatever. I like to use low sodium whenever possible because you can always add more salt, but you can't take it away. Get that to a nice little simmer. And we'll add this. Remember, we're going to be thickening it up. Now some people like to add, at the end of this sauce being ready, they'll add sour cream to the sauce and mix it in. Sour cream, smetana, is another important thing in Russian culture. We put it on everything, our pancakes, our meats, our soups, everything. It's delicious, so. And most people use Greek yogurt now, so if sour cream, you can do that if you're looking for a fat-free option. But, you know, once in a while, you gotta have some sour cream. Smetana. So I wasn't raised putting it in this sauce. I was raised putting it on as a cold little dollop on top, and you top it off with some fresh dill or some fresh parsley, and that's kind of the finish when you're ready to eat it. Now this is coming to a little bit of a simmer. I'm just gonna add this broth. Let's see. I want to see about that much. Looks about enough. I'll reserve the rest for later for something else. All right, I'm gonna put this on low now. Let it sit. Let all of the veggies kind of cook together and make a nice flavorful sauce. And now, the fun part, making the roll-ups. So, first thing we're gonna do is, there's this hard piece right here, kind of the spine of it, if you will. And after it's boiled, I like to kind of cut that out a little bit. Not too far, but just where you feel that really hard part. And don't worry about that part, it's gonna roll over just fine. So take that little part, that little hard stem out. It's just too crunchy to be in there. Alright, so take this piece, lay it flat out, kind of push those two parts together. Just grab a handful of some meat. Not too much, because you want to be able to roll it and tuck it around itself like a little burrito. So about that much. We're going to put it in the center, not quite the center, a little off center. Take these pieces, roll it over. Take these pieces, fold it over. Then roll it to the end. And done.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's very simple. You can put a toothpick or wrap it in twine, cooking twine if you really want to. I would never do that, I never have. Boom, there you go. Give it a try. Give it a try.
All right. Okay, we have to supervise.
Okay.
Let's see how I do.
Okay. It's the part that gets cut out, you just kind of tuck together.
Okay, tuck it together. Okay, and we got a little bit. Fold it up.
Not into a ball, more of like a, oblong shape.
Okay. That.
Very nice, yeah.
Okay. Put it there. Right here first.
Yep. Roll it and then fold it side side.
Side side.
And forward. There you go.
Okay.
It's
That's
a
nice.
little, it's a little split open, it's totally fine. It's going to be just fine. Some
Alright.
people make this as a stew and they don't even roll it, they just throw it all in there.
Okay.
I'm sure people do that with like lots of things.
Okay, can I do another one?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. This is
Yeah,
kind of fun.
use that one, I'll cut yeah, this is fun, right?
Okay.
I'll cut the
Yeah,
end off
it's
this one
totally
for you. So yeah, it's fun, right? This is my favorite part. I was like, ooh, it's always fun to me. And mine never looked that great when I was a kid either, but it's good for kids to get in there and try. Like, I feel like parents are like, oh, go play and we're gonna cook. But my grandma would always want me next to her to be a part of it and working with her, and it just was so good for our relationship, but also, it taught me some great life skills, so it's a good thing. Cook with your kids.
I
Cook with your
agree.
kids, people.
Definitely cook with your kids.
So yeah, which I guess the tricky part can be like, I don't know, just folding it over and making sure it's not busting open, but it's fun. There might be moments that
Okay,
kind of,
these, for those of you that know that I make my chimichangas, this is what my chimichangas look like.
Hey, why not? Yeah. So you definitely want to try to make them more oblong, but that is just fine like that too. It's totally fine.
I'll fix it. So it's more like what we're making.
That's not to be perfect. Perfection is unachievable and
I
shouldn't be worried about.
You're the chef. I'm in your kitchen. I can't do it my way. I gotta try to do it your way.
My grandma's way.
Your grandma's way.
No, I wish I could have written down all of her recipes so I can get them more precisely, and unfortunately I don't have them.
Okay.
So I do have some
Is that
memories.
better?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome. Oh, that's great. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the fun part, so I love it. And after this part, the hard part is over. It's like super easy. It's
So do you
really-
bake these, right? Or what do you do?
Well, I don't think my grandma did what I'm going to do today, which is I kind of brown them just a tiny bit in the pan first to give them a little more flavor, and then you stack them in just a little bit of that sauce. They almost kind of steam and bake. So yeah, I'll put the oven on for a little bit. It's about 350 we put it on.
Okay.
Put it
So
pretty-
did you see that? She made like 4, I made 2.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about doing this recipe too, because it meant so much to me, and it's like, oh, it's a family recipe. I don't want to mess it up and make my family go, oh, that's not right. But I think everyone takes their family recipes though, and they tweak them a little and make it their own way, because every chef does that. You might have the most perfect recipe from our famous chef, even you go, I'll make it different. Thomas Keller, whatever, I'll make mine different. Like, just how it is. It's just fun to put your own twist on things.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I try to strive to not be perfectionist, even though I am. I try not to be because I know perfection is just silly.
We tried all the way from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut that hard piece off.
That's hard.
Yeah, you see, like it seems like it doesn't make that much. But normally, I would make probably 10 times this much with the recipe. So I'm trying to scale back. So this is like a normal family serving, I would say. So I'm trying to go a little smaller.
All right. Okay.
But believe me, you'll eat like 5 of these in a sitting and be like, oh man, ooh, these are good. So you won't be sad about losing any leftovers, if there are any.
So when we make our blondigas, we don't
Yes.
pre-cook the rice. We just put it in raw.
I've seen it done before too. I can't remember if my grandma did or not. I feel like she put it in par cooked, but it will cook in the, because the meat's raw too, so it will cook in steam with everything. I just get paranoid, I think, is probably why I just kind of cook it par, just so I can make sure it's...
That's a really good. I was like, oh, maybe I should try that with my blondigas.
Yeah, well, the blondigas is boiled, right?
Yes.
So maybe it's better not to have it cooked all the way, because maybe as it expands, maybe it holds together better. I'm not sure, but I don't know if that would work as well with the blondigas. Yeah, Russian food is a lot of pickled things, a lot of root vegetables.
They're so pretty.
It's very simple, but it's it's rustic and it's intended to last through the winter and keep you full and happy. And so this piece is probably not really usable. That's a reject. Or this one here, how it's all kind of torn. Well, that's not bad. We only have 2 rejects out of the whole head of cabbage. And we have perfectly beautiful ones right there. There we go.
So what do you do with the extra?
I'm going to hold back on this recipe because I scale back because look how much extra there is. See, I always overdo it. Now, what I would do probably with this is going to make little hamburger patties. You can make sandwiches out of them. Or make an albondigas, or make a soup out of it. So, make sandwiches. You can do all kinds of things with it. I'm going to have to make sure I get it a little more spot on so that I don't waste it. But that's something definitely that I would reuse for sure. Beautiful. That's perfect amount. Hopefully I go for less beef next time. There we go. Just a little bit. Put it in a bowl here with a whisk. Just a little bit. And then let's put just a little sprinkling of flour. You don't need much to thicken up the sauce. I like putting it in liquid so it gets rid of all the lumps and there's no issue with any problems. You slowly incorporate it into the sauce and thicken it. So you just keep mixing it around so you see that there are no lumps left. And it's a perfect way to thicken up your gravy or whatever you're making. And you can kind of keep tasting the sauce as you go to and see if it's at the flavor that you want it to be. All the vegetables are kind of getting cooked down and nice, flavorful. Now one secret ingredient that I've heard other people use, not my grandma, but other people, is ketchup. Some people will use sugar and vinegar to kind of add a little extra bite to it, which is why people use ketchup, because it's just sugar, basically, tomato and vinegar. So you can do that if you want a little extra kind of punch. I've heard people make spicy Hungarian versions of this with all kinds of spices in it. You get a little more creative. This is super basic, salt and pepper, and the meat has a tiny bit of allspice just to add a little flavor. You can always, dress it up a bit, make it more exciting. But I just like it the rustic, simple, tomatoey, broccoli deliciousness. So as this comes up, I'm going to put it on a medium heat. Let it boil up, and then slowly add the flour mixture to it. And you can always put little as you go, because you don't want to overdo it and make it turn into like this weird gel. You just want it to be nice and thick, almost like, pretty much exactly like a gravy texture would be perfect. So once it gets to about a gravy texture, we're going to let it cool. I'm not cool, I'm sorry, you're just going to put it aside and kind of let it sit for a minute. I'll take a small pan, or a big pan. I just have this little one today. So we're going to put a little layering of the sauce on the bottom of the pan. I'm going to set those right inside of it. So the sauce is thickening up nicely. I got this Pyrex pan here, I got this going. As this thickens up, I add a little bit more mixture.
So what does the Sassy Chef do? Tell us more about that while you're getting stuff ready.
So I used to be into modeling and acting when I was younger. And I couldn't find a career that was working for me, and I was kind of just hating the game of auditioning and trying to look perfect all the time. This wasn't my style. And cooking is always there for me, and it's always been a huge part of my life. But for some reason, I never thought of it as a career. I just thought of it as a hobby. And my chefs in Maui in particular, well, actually all my friends really have been very supportive of me. And I've always been wanting to eat my cooking. So I started doing these little dinner parties and called the Sassy Chef Supper Club. So the nickname is Sassy, and my friends will call me Sassy Chef, so I ended up becoming my chef name. So I would do different dinner parties where I would feature a theme. So I'd be like, okay, Puerto Rican and Cuban food. And so I would go research what is Puerto Rican and Cuban food and I would cook it for everybody. And they would kind of critique me and talk about it and bring wine and just have a great dinner party. And it was a great way for me to learn, but also a great way to test out recipes and just have fun. So it's kind of after that that my friends were just like, God, you need to be doing this for a living. And I was like, nah, I can never do it for a living. But when people who were strangers started telling me they love my cooking, I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. And I was intended to go to culinary school. And I never really got around to it. I've always been just busy or, you know, didn't want to put the money into it. And I've just been working randomly as a private chef. So I was like, you know what, maybe eventually I'll get to school. Never got around to it. So now I just constantly study and teach myself new techniques and really delve into what is the culture of a certain kind of food. Like, you know, for example, Puerto Rican and Cuban, what is the core of that food? The core is a sofrito. What is a sofrito? What makes it authentic? Talk to Puerto Rican grandmothers, you know, that's how you kind of figure it out. That's something that's important to me. So I melted just about 2 tablespoons of butter in here. I'm going to take these and very carefully just brown them. I'm going to start with the folded side first. So that part there, please put that part down. I'm just browning it to give it a little flavor, a little color. And you don't have to do this, especially if you're scared, because I know you're probably scared it's going to fly apart and just fall apart and you ruin that beautiful little roll that you made. You don't have to do this. This is something that I like to do. I don't think my grandma did. I just was testing, experimenting with it, and I found that it gave it a really nice flavor and it gave the cabbage a really nice quality. Now this dish, a lot of people who don't like cabbage really do like this dish because it doesn't have that sulfuric cabbaginess to it. It really kind of takes away all that and makes it really crunchy and delicious. And so even if you hate cabbage, I think you should give this dish a try because it's not, you know, it's not your average cabbage. It's good. Okay, what is this? Not thickening enough. A little higher.
So we're in Maui now for
yeah.
Sassy Chef. So where are you off to next?
So my goal has been, well, I lived in Maui, but I left, first of all, born and raised in LA. I was doing okay there, kind of trying to pursue an acting career while bartending and managing restaurants. I wasn't very happy though. And after 9/11 hit and things kind of turned disastrous, the economy crashed, I lost my job, all these bad things were happening. And I decided to come visit my sister in Maui, and I was supposed to be here for the summer. The summer turned into 6 years because the summer never ends. So yeah. So ever since I've been here, I have changed so much as a person. I've just connected so much with the community, with the local produce and ingredients and farmers, and just people's. I was kind of reconnected with food, and the way the chef scene has changed now, where there's a certain level of respect for chefs that seemed like it wasn't there before. And that the head-to-tail dining, the use every bit of everything, people are starting to be more open-minded about what they eat. I mean, I was raised eating cow tongue too. It's another Russian thing. It's cow tongue. To me, it's amazing. It's like the best beef ever. People freak out about it. And now, it's becoming a little more accepted to eat weird things like pig ears and stuff. But it's also more environmentally conscious. If you're going to eat the animal, to me, the most respectful thing to do is eat every part of it that you can. If you're going to bother to kill it, eat it and eat every part of it and respect it. And treat it as well as you can before you kill it, you know? So I'm hoping that the small movements and changes that are happening now are really going to affect everything on a bigger scale because I think it's great and it's really, really, really important. So yeah, being in Maui was just so special for me. And after it kind of started feeling a little stagnant here and not really feeling like I was enjoying it as much, I was like, wow, so what's wrong with me? I love Maui. Why am I feeling this way? So I decided to make a change. So I went over to Portland, Oregon because it's such a foodie place to be. And it was just really wonderful there. Whole different type of food, and you know, you have the fresh salmon, you have the fresh pumpkins, and just all these different things. It's so great. So I learned a lot about food and stuff there. Explored there for a while. My good friend near Sedona, Arizona, invited me there to help her open a restaurant, and so I started learning about Southwestern food. And there's actually a wine country out there too, so that was interesting. So I mean, there's such diversity out there. I'm going to flip these over now.
Okay.
You can see, just very carefully. So see how it's a little bit browned on the other side. And you can use tongs if you want, especially if they're like the rubber tongs. They won't pierce it as harshly as, you know, the metal ones might. So just use something that's a little gentle, like a spatula or something, and you just want a little brown on there just to give it a little flavor. Like I said, if you're scared to do this part, don't worry about it. You don't have to. But see, it's holding together just fine. They're not gonna flip over on you. If they do, not a big deal. I might have to do the tongs, yeah. Even if they are metal, just be careful.
So if you had put string on these, could you do that or no? This would be
I've
only.
seen people use toothpicks. I've seen people tie them with the cooking twine.
Okay.
You can do that if you want. Have a pain to take off later. Ooh. If you want to eat it later, it might be kind of a pain.
Okay.
And plus, you know, I feel like I was if I did that. So
Okay.
this is thickening up nicely. Turn it down a little bit lower. So you can, you know, I just stir.
Okay.
But you can see they're not that bad. They're coming together pretty decently. Only one's kind of coming apart. The rest of them are totally fine. We're just going to brown on the other side now.
Okay.
And then take this pan and layer it with just a little bit of sauce. You don't want them to boil in the pan. You want them just kind of steam almost and bake. So not too much sauce. Just put a little bit in there. Just a little layer. And the rest is going to keep in reserve. I'm going to actually probably reduce this a little bit more, make it a little more thick like a gravy.
Okay.
And once it's brown, I'm going to lay them right on top of here. We're going to bake it. Our oven's almost ready.
Okay.
So yeah, I think just respecting your food and everything is so important, and being inspired wherever you go. So I've had this intention of traveling to all the states and places I have my dreams. Like for instance, Colorado's on the list, New Orleans, Louisiana. I've got Austin, Texas. Asheville, North Carolina's coming up and coming foodie spot. So my goal for the next few years of my life is going to be to travel across the United States and explore the food and the culture, and just kind of, you know, learn to cook some different cuisines. Maybe I'll write a cookbook or a cooking travel show. That would be my dream. Let's see what happens.
Very nice dream.
Yeah, just dream big, may as well. As far as I know, this is the only life I have, so I may as well, you know, do what I want.
Fantastic.
Alright, so now I'm going to take these little guys. I'm going to want to put them with the loose side, if you will, the part that's folded. I'm going to put them back over so the folded side is down so it stays together a little better. If I'm saying that properly. Sounds like an enchilada too, huh?
They look like my chimichangas.
Yeah.
They really do. And when I fry my chimichangas, I fry them with the folded piece down first, exactly like you. So
See, there's so many similarities to it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
yeah.
I'll pack these little guys in there. These are beautiful. They'll taste delicious. Alrighty. So yeah, it's not that scary. It is doable. It's tasty. This one's not gonna fit in, is it? Oh, we can make it fit. The little fat one's taking up all the room. That's alright. We're gonna squish it in. Even if they come apart later, that's alright. Alright. Squishy that one in there. There we go. That'll do. And we just want that small layer of sauce at the bottom there. And then let me put a little bit more sauce on top, just a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to throw them in the oven. I'm going to bake these anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. Just want the beef to be cooked, but you can't really overcook these. They're not going to get super mushy or anything. They're going to be delicious. Let those get going. These are nice and warm. Cooking about 45 minutes now. It's been bubbly and delicious. Ready to eat. I have a little more sauce. I'm just heating up the stove there so we can top it off with that sauce. I have some smeltana, sour cream, and some chopped parsley. And I like to put a little fresh dill, but I didn't have any available today. So next time. Alright, so we got our golubtsi out of the oven there. I got the sauce. I kind of just topped it off with some of that extra sauce just to get a little extra sauciness. And how my family likes to eat it is a good healthy dollop of sour cream on top. And some fresh herbs. I'm using some fresh parsley. So there we go. Dig in, enjoy it. It's meaty, it's delicious, it's Russian comfort food, and it's from the heart. And thank you to Molé Mama for featuring me on this cooking show. It's a great pleasure to be a part of something that's about heritage and culture, and something that's very important to me and dear to my heart as well. So thank you, Molé Mama.
Thank you, Sassy Chef. Yay!
Hug,
Yay.
careful hug. Oh.